Winnemucca?
Winnemucca.
Winnemucca.
Winnemucca, Nevada.
Winnemucca. Thanks for joining us today, guys, on the Elation podcast. Today we're here with Brian Greenberg, a.k.a. Tank. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good. Good to have you here.
Yeah, beautiful space.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. General Manager of Tipitina is absolutely crazy. Big name to be a general manager of down here.
Yeah, it's very well-known business. 49 years in New Orleans, coming up on 50 in January of 2027.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, as I've had many nights there that I'm not going to go over on air, let's talk about how your origin story and where you came from and how you got here, and we'll go from there.
No, for sure. I actually grew up outside of Houston.
Okay.
Moved here in 2000 to go to Tulane, graduated from Tulane, and started working at Tipitina's while I was, I guess like a junior, 2003.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So you just walked in the door one day, or?
Kinda. I was an intern at WWOZ, the radio station, great radio station.
Love Murph.
Check them out. Yeah, Murph is awesome.
Yep.
And my boss at OZ, I just kind of let him know, hey, I'm looking for extra work. I'm taking summer classes, but I got free weekends. I could use a little extra scratch. He called his friend Stacy, who was working at Tipitina's, and said, hey, I got a big dude that works here that's looking for work. You need anybody? And she said, yeah, set him up. And that was kind of it.
That's it,
yeah.
huh? So it works being a big man sometimes in this space.
Yeah, literally just being big.
Yeah. No, I mean, listen, speakers are heavy,
Well, I was just security, checking IDs.
I didn't,
working by the stage.
I guess I didn't want to be that big of a stigma.
No, man, they just needed some extra meat, I guess.
Yeah,
I got a lot of it.
Well, that's awesome. But, it's funny because those stories are one that I like to highlight because it tells people that you just have to get out there and try something. Like you have to, walk in the door and ask.
No, 100%, man. It's funny because I worked at a couple other bars also, and I remember I was working at Miss May's, dive bar just down the street from Tipitina's.
Right.
And after being there for a little while, my boss there said, "Hey, man, you're a really good employee. I just want to let you know that." I go, "Oh, I show up and I just do what I'm told." He goes,
right.
"Yeah, no, you show up."
Yes, right.
Literally just showing up on time sober, back then at least, was a huge step up on the competition, I guess.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, sober is a relative term down here,
Yeah, that is true. Also.
Especially for bartenders. So
yeah, I guess so. But it's funny because more and more bartenders are becoming like sober bartenders. I don't know if you've seen that at all.
No, I haven't.
Not all of them. Plenty of them are still booze bags. But
it's almost like don't get high on your own supply a little bit.
A little, but also at least for people that are, I don't know, just a little more savvy, a little wise to it. You're in a bar long enough, you see enough people throwing their life away all the time, and you are kind of profiting off of it, which isn't always pleasant, but you're learning from other people's mistakes. Like, oh, I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah. Well, so Tulane, was it something that because Houston, Tulane, I mean, did you just want to go to Tulane for a reason, or was there
it's funny because not specifically. I didn't have any connection to New Orleans or Tulane specifically. I just knew it was a good school, and I had pretty good grades, and I knew I could get in, and I got in, and just on a whim. I had a friend growing up. Her family was from, actually not far from this neighborhood is where she grew up before she moved to our town. And they were like, "Oh, you're going to love it." And I came to visit with my old man one night. And literally just after being here for one day in the summer and checking out the campus and wandering around town, I was like, yeah, I want to live here.
Yeah, this is awesome, huh?
Yeah.
And never left, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I did leave in 2007 briefly for about a year and a half.
Okay.
Like I said, I was working at WWOZ and radio. My goal was to be a radio man.
Okay.
I wanted to be just one of those dudes bouncing from city to city, working at rock stations and wherever. And I just thought that would be my future. It was not. It was not. But after Katrina, I was on, before Katrina, there was a very well-known station that I was working at, and I was the morning show producer on for the morning train wreck on 106.7 The End.
Absolutely.
Which was huge monster alternative radio station.
Absolutely.
After Katrina went away and became a country station, I didn't get fired, so I was on a country station for about a year. Yeah.
Especially for so growing up, 106.7, the Zephyr Fest was what?
The Zephyr was the precursor to The End.
Yeah. And so I remember seeing everybody at the Zephyr Fest,
Hmm.
Foo Fighters and Green Day and, God, No Doubt, Bush, Candlebox, all of them before they blew up.
Yeah, it was this has always been such an underrated town for rock and roll.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is still the same, but I mean, especially late 80s through the 90s, like this was people outside of New Orleans always talk about jazz or blues or funk and all the stuff that we have to offer. But rock and roll
It was
was
big.
massive
Yeah.
and very underrated outside of this area, I think.
100%. Well, you
Yeah.
think about all the live venues we have, rock and roll
Hmm.
tributes to that. Like you
100%. I
can,
mean, the back in the 50s and stuff,
right.
like all that stuff was the early days of rock and roll, and that's what made this city into what it was musically, at least of the modern, post World War II era, for
Right,
sure.
100%. Well, and being the pirate city, it kind of works out
Hmm.
too, because I mean, bands have fun when they come down
Oh
here.
yeah, yeah,
That was a part of it too. I have a feeling, right?
100%.
Yeah,
Yes, that is
cheap
accurate.
fun. I guess you could say.
Yeah, you're right on the money with that for sure. But yeah, man, it was a country station for a little while, and there was the guy who named me Tank. His name was Jace Edwards. He had ended up landing a job in Palm Springs in the
Okay.
Coachella Valley. He had been there for close to a year and was like, "Hey, man, I need a producer. What do you think about moving out here?" And it was, that year or two after Katrina was a really interesting time in town.
Yeah,
It
I
was
would say
still,
so.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But we were on this awesome rock station that went away and became a country station. There was already like a heritage country station in town, and it's like trying to pick at that audience, and they
Right.
just weren't into it, and left the city without an alternative rock station. There was no more rock and roll on the radio for a few years there. So it's kind of strange that like the bosses of that company wanted to get rid of it and try something
it
else.
was just a specific decision from the uppers that just
Kinda.
decided that.
Yeah, man. There was like a general manager of that cluster and someone else at the corporate office that, was like, no, look at the numbers. Data says that country is the biggest genre of music right now. So let's go for that. It's the biggest audience in America. It's like, cool. Well, we have all these people who grew up not just in New Orleans, but across the lake, West Bank, like for the 100-mile radius, yeah, maybe like 70-mile radius outside of New Orleans, that was our core listenership. We're just sitting there listening to white noise on 106.7, waiting for us to come back. And sure enough, when we finally came back, it's like,
There's Alan
Kenny
Jackson.
Chesney, what is this? Like, dude, where's my Soundgarden? Where's my Metallica? Like whatever. So
Well, I feel like they missed such an opportunity too, because after Katrina, everybody was angry.
Yeah.
Like, what a time to have rock
we
going.
wanted something that we missed that was there before and was
Right.
gone. So that was the whole thing. But needless to say, my buddy Jace, he picked me up to become the producer for his morning show out in the Coachella Valley, and I did that for about a year and a half until we all got laid off, and then came back to New Orleans after that.
Well, the entertainment business is fun, huh?
Well, then it was like on the heels of the big recession, and we were a small market, like Palm Springs at the time might have been like market 130 maybe, and it was the biggest station or the biggest cluster of that media company's quote unquote empire.
Right.
But they essentially like laid off 25% of all staff across the board, salespeople, whatever, like just got rid of all people. And we also did not do a good job of keeping our mouths shut about all of our opinions on what our general managers and stuff were doing wrong. And we had done good work. Like we had put out a good product on air, and we had the statistics showing like, look at our ratings. Like we
Right.
increased everything. Like we are what is raising the bar for not just this station, but all the other stations. Like we were beating like Adam Carolla and Mark and Brian, like just in Coachella Valley, and they're 100 miles away in LA.
Right.
They're the big dogs. And here we are, small market next to LA, eating their lunch,
Right.
So to think that we got laid off and, just for doing a good job and telling our bosses how good of a job we were doing, didn't do us any favors.
Didn't do you any favors,
No,
huh?
no.
Well, I mean, and obviously we'll get back to Tipitinas in a second, but being close to the radio situation,
Mm.
how do you feel radio has changed over the last few years?
I mean, people say it's dying. I mean, I don't know if dying is the right word. It's definitely weaker. It doesn't have the same audience. The companies that own radio stations, I know there's, what's the phrasing like? Oh, the deregulation or re-regulation of radio that happened with the FCC in the 90s, where all of a sudden, Entercoms and whoever else could buy up as many radio
Right.
stations in any market as they wanted, kind of started diluting the entire radio culture. When we were
Right.
coming up, you heard about new stuff on the radio. Now,
Right.
the radio is where you hear stuff that's kind of tired.
That's already
Like,
out. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
like there's not a whole lot of radio stations breaking new music because they're all essentially being programmed by a couple of companies out of LA or Chicago or Nashville or New York. And it's one consultant sending over a playlist that's basically like play this song X number of times per day
Yeah.
and this time of hour. It's kind of being done automatically, and there's no local DJs, so it's one person is voice tracking. Maybe they're in New Orleans voice tracking their afternoon show, but they're also doing Tampa and Baton Rouge
Right. Or
and
we got Ryan
Omaha.
Seacrest doing something down here,
Exactly.
supposedly. Yeah.
But it's not
No.
even big names, like people that are getting, like minimum wage, board up pay, $10 an hour, whatever it is,
Right.
just so they can have a job and get their foot in the door. Or there are even radio stations, and I hate to even kind of bring it up because I know it always spins the conversation awkwardly. Like there are AI radio stations
Right.
where it's basically one voice. They pump it through a machine and it changes. It's like, oh, now it's a female voice.
Right.
You can put it on this pop station or vice versa. It's getting diluted, and there's no more regional radio. It doesn't have the foothold. But like I mentioned, my friend Jace Edwards, the guy who named me Tank, I love you terribly, Jace. He has now bought his own radio stations. Very small market. It's in Winnemucca, Nevada, which is not
Say that again. Winnemucca?
Winnemucca,
Winnemucca.
Nevada.
Winnemucca.
It is like kind of
Okay.
halfway between Reno and Salt Lake in northern Nevada. There ain't a whole lot of stuff out there, but
A lot of mucka.
there's a lot of stuff that's big in the muck, that's for sure. But he owns like a mix station and a rock station, and his rock station is legit. So
That's awesome.
I don't know if I'm allowed to give plugs. He's got a free
Yes.
app, Nomadic Radio. If you
Yep.
look up the Nomadic Radio app, click on the Rock 943 icon, and you can listen to what a rock station is supposed to sound
That's
like.
awesome. That's awesome. Well, and I guess that's how it's changed a little bit too, because you can be just a regular radio station and still broadcast internet radio in a sense, correct?
Yeah. No, I
Yeah.
mean, but it's local. Like you hear like the local commercials for the tattoo parlors
Right,
or head
right,
shops
right,
over
right,
there or
right.
whatever else. He's talking about like what's happening in town, and these are the events, and there's a bike rally going on over here. And
Right.
this is happening at the whatever casino. Like he's entrenched. He's local. Like he's one of the last guys really holding on.
Free lobsters at the Winnemucca Casino, huh?
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
There's two theories that I have on this. One is radio is dead and it is what it is. It's going to go away at some point. And I don't truly believe that one.
It won't.
For
It won't.
me, I feel like radio is waiting for the rebirth. And the reason why is because of the subscription model is pissing people off.
Yeah.
And at some point, I'm going to end up with so many subscriptions that I'm going to delete every one of them.
Mhm.
And I'm going to find a way to listen for free. And I feel like that's where radio comes back into play with the
Mhm.
public is like, it's truly an announcement, a reach directly to the public that really shouldn't be in that box. So I just feel like people will push back against it, and it's probably already happened a little bit, but radio has to change some type of format to make it fancier or to make it feel cooler. But at the same time, like I feel like there's a huge chance for radio to just come back as a whole.
Well, I don't think it's ever going to go away for a lot of reasons, mostly because, like, God forbid there's a natural disaster like a hurricane.
Right.
Radio is your only chance.
Correct.
And even still, like a lot of people don't realize this, you don't need electricity to listen to the radio, not even batteries. Like,
Right.
learn about vacuum tubes, kids.
Correct. Correct.
So in the
Correct.
apocalypse situation,
Yep.
or whatever else.
Absolutely.
But I mean, there are still good radio stations. Like we mentioned WWOZ earlier. They have a mission statement of what they are doing for music and for this city and this region. So there's still a handful out there that are like WWOZ, but they are a nonprofit station. And the biggest hang up with radio, just like most other industries, is money.
Right.
Like, if someone's not making money off of it, it'll never survive.
Right. Well, if there's no advertising being done because the market share is too small, then you're not end up making money, and it's just a fun thing at that point.
Essentially,
Um,
there is an element of that. But
Yeah. Well,
there-
and the corporate structure of everything creative ruins it. I mean, if you
Mhm.
think about it, like I hate having the iHeartRadio building to walk into, but you can't approach anybody.
yeah. Mhm.
Like that doesn't help artists.
No. no.
You know, you used to be able to walk into a major radio station and hand them your demo.
Hmm.
Whether it went anywhere, it doesn't
Yeah, I mean,
matter.
it might
But
end
at
up in
least
a box, but someone might pick it up randomly,
you
like an
never know.
intern or whatever,
Yeah.
and they find it, and eventually they might get their chance at being on
Yep.
the air, and they might throw it on the air.
Yep.
Yeah.
But what was it? Like Eminem got signed because somebody's daughter, who was an industry guy, handed him the tape, the father the tape, and he listened to it, and then he called and found Eminem and da 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 da, and there's this whole spiel about it was just somebody's daughter
Yeah.
who had heard the demo tape.
I mean, that probably happens more than we hear about.
Right.
I mean, especially maybe back in the time. These days, it's someone happens to thumb past something on social media and they catch a link
Right.
of whatever that catches their eye before their ear, even, which is also kind of sad.
Yeah, well, because music has now become the background noise, not the product.
There's a big element of that.
You know.
Absolutely.
But that being said, live music is where everything, in my opinion, is ending and staying.
Well, it's kind of where the rubber meets the road, man.
Right.
Like recorded music is definitely not what it used to be. For artists, I know that there's a big complaint amongst musicians I know. They're like, oh man, we got to get in the studio and record. And at the same time, they're saying, but we're spending so much goddamn money on the studio. When no one's going to buy this album, maybe we might hope to break even one day.
Right.
Especially since, like you said, you can't just walk in anywhere. The technology has become such that most people can just pay out of their own pocket to get a product out there.
Right.
There's something about it that I don't know if it'll ever be what people think it is before they actually get involved. But
Right.
live music is where these musicians are actually making money. Like you can record as many albums as you want, but after a while, like, okay, you sold that album. Like, then what? How long is that $12 profit you made off that CD or record actually going to last you? You need to hit the road regularly. You can't keep putting out albums every month.
Right. Well, even if you do, if you're not playing shows, there's no one to sell them to.
Exactly. Exactly. Because there's not a format like radio. And it's like, yeah, you can put it on Spotify, YouTube, the internet, whatever else. Like, you are one of a billion. So
correct.
Maybe it catches, but the odds are it's not going to.
The odds are it's not, unless you do some naked dance on TikTok that makes you famous.
I mean,
right?
I guess maybe.
I mean, if you did a naked TikTok on
I don't have TikTok. Should we do that?
Okay, naked Instagram dance. I feel like you might get a good following.
Instagram either.
All right,
I'm very. I know that you're going to ask me for my socials at the end, and I don't have.
Oh man, well,
I do.
We're going to call it
have a Facebook page.
We're going to call it just the tips.
That's already been used. Actually,
it's already been used.
It's already been used.
All right, well, good.
We have a band called Just the Tips that is our underground house band for Tipitinas.
Really?
Made up of Tipitina's employees called.
How you like that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that just came out of nowhere on that one.
It's come up. There's been a few different iterations of Just the Tips since 2010.
Okay, all right. Well, great. Well, listen, good ideas flow around in all different ways. But so let's talk about a little bit day-to-day stuff.
All right. Yeah.
General manager, day-to-day, Tipitinas. What happens in the morning?
Well, I'll tell you what. It's weird and it sounds stupid, but I got 1,000 little jobs that all come and go day to day. I mean, I'm in the office every day, 9 to 5, just weekdays, like a regular day job. But I kind of have to be responsible for Tipitina's 24 hours a day. Like,
Gotcha.
I don't get to just take vacations and shut my phone off for a long weekend or whatever and be like, screw y'all, I'm on vacation. Forget that. Whatever happens at the building, even if I'm not the one doing it directly, I got to be responsible for everyone that works there, everyone that plays there, everyone that visits there, and everything else.
So you can't ever say your tank's full.
Kinda. But most days, I help answer phones, do box office sales. I go to the bank and make drops. I got a booking agent who I'm constantly, going back and forth with. I don't have I sit down and I just start my click clack whatever. Like I'm answering emails all day. Like whenever I have downtime, which there's plenty of days where I'm not super busy, I'm reading. I'm looking.
Right.
I'm looking around town to see what other venues are doing. What's happening here? What's happening there? If there's something broken in the club, I'll try and fix it. I'm on my hands and knees. Replacing little bits of flooring or with a leaf blower out back in the boneyard cleaning up.
Most people don't realize what the term manager means.
General manager means you generally
manage everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
A little bit. I got a great team, so I don't mean to complain or anything like that. It's a hard job just because there's a lot of stress, and Tipitina's is the monster that it is. And monster is a relative term. It's very well known. It's very well respected, and it's just a lot of responsibility because I'm responsible for not just the people who work there, play there, visit there, but like
people who come there too.
Yeah. It's more like, this is my comparison. Like we love the Saints, right? everything that happens with the Saints, we feel like that's my team.
Right.
Like, what are you doing? Why'd you trade him? Why'd you
Right.
kick that? Why'd you pass that? That's my team. What are you doing messing with my team? Whenever there's something in this town that we love, we feel like it's ours, and Tipitina's is kind of like that. So if we book a band that people don't like they'd be like, I can't believe you would book them at Tipitina's, or why are you doing that at
Right.
Tipitina's? It's like, fuck off. It's not your place. Man.
Right.
Because it's going to make us money, hopefully. That's what we're doing. We're a business.
100%.
So there is an element of just outside pressure and stress from strangers, like
Right.
I got to take complaints via email and phone call for the dumbest shit sometimes.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, it's.
What was the one that made you the angriest?
I don't know, man. I stay pretty hot most of the time. I get angry for dumb stuff. I've
Most general managers do. I'm not gonna lie.
I've made a few enemies over the years.
It's because you have to deal with so many things, and you hear something like, "Really, I have to deal with that right now?"
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, and sometimes it's even something stupid. I don't know. I try and be relatively level-headed most of the time.
Well,
I'm taming in my older years.
being sober will help with that.
Well, I'm not sober. I just don't drink at work. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
Well, I didn't mean it like that, but just being sober at work will help you. Like
It goes a long way. A lot of people, when they come visit, when I got friends at the show, like, oh, hey, let me get you a drink. Or like, oh, you're at the bar. You're probably drinking all the time. I was like, no, because like, God forbid there's an emergency. We got to call the police or something like that.
Right.
And I got to talk to a cop or just talk to a customer in a place of authority and responsibility. Like, I can smell booze on your breath. Why should I believe anything you're saying?
Right.
So there's that kind of. I don't get to have fun at work.
Oh, man, you got to be the designated driver all night long.
Kinda. I've cut loose before and gotten a little reckless, but I don't let people see me get out of hand. Not at work.
No, not at all. Well, that's awesome. Well, what would you think some of the challenges around New Orleans for artists?
For artists, man, that's tough.
Because I mean, on the booking side, there's a lot of challenges for local artists.
I think the challenges for the local artists are kind of the same for the venues in a lot of respects. I mean, honestly, this is going to sound bad. I don't mean to like hate on our local citizens here, but like we have I don't know, there's a growing apathy amongst people in this town towards the music industry sometimes, meaning take it for granted, like everyone complains. And, I was mentioning it's something I love, so it's mine. People treat Jazz Fest that way. Whenever there's big bands booked at Jazz Fest, they're like, I can't believe they're booking so-and-so, and I can't believe they're playing. Like, it's one of those challenges that people on the outside don't really understand. Like I said, they people take it for granted.
It's definitely a balancing act too, like bringing in national bands to a local festival that and like Jazz Fest is an international festival, but it's kind of a local thing. So like you have to balance this act of like.
Well, it started out one way and it's another thing now.
Yeah.
But it's been over 50 years for them too.
Yeah.
No, we, everyone likes, people of New Orleans like to brag about our culture. That's our, our food, our music, our communities, our Mardi Gras Indians, our this or that, like our art. This is something that we like to brag about, but we don't take advantage of correctly. People will subscribe to 6 or 7 different movie or video streaming services and stay at home watching their TV shows, whatever else. But I think this is not some kind of statistic that's evidence-based, but if everyone that lived in this town went and saw live music once a month, it would be thriving beyond belief.
Wow.
And I say that full well meaning, like, I know you're involved in the music industry and even y'all here in the studio, like, I'm sure you might go out every once in a while, but what about your next door neighbors? Like people across the street, like they probably stay home. My neighbors don't go out, I got people, and I am lucky enough to live on a block uptown that doesn't have any Airbnbs or college students or anything like that. So I got locals that have lived here for years, if not decades, surrounding me, and they don't go out to see music, but they'll, brag to their friends that are visiting about how they live in this great place with this great culture. Well, go enjoy it. Stop going to McDonald's. I don't mean to hate on McDonald's, but I mean, like, people need to do a better job spending money where it needs to go.
Yeah, stop spending money on Candy Crush.
Yeah, man. Like the dumbest little things. If people really took advantage of what this city has to offer, we should be thriving beyond belief. And I don't know. There's a whole lot.
Well, let me just pick up from there a little bit because I feel like the dynamics. I personally, if I was to look at everything, I would see it as a still an aftermath from Katrina, a still an aftermath from now COVID, but also an aftermath of the dynamics of the politicians and the structure of the city over the last 15, 20 years.
Yeah, you did hit something right there for me, actually,
Yeah.
for sure. After Katrina, there was I mean, with all the devastation, there was a massive influx of money
Corporate
and
money, and it
yeah,
changed the dynamics of everything.
there was a bit of that, but more specifically, and you hit on the politicians, like lots of money, lots of corporate money with lots of government money, and it was just getting funneled out in the strangest of ways and not always helping the right people who needed the help. But there's I don't know how to say this without sounding like a tremendous asshole, but sorry.
No, you could.
um, all of the things that we relied on. I mean, the city's 300 years old and we still haven't figured out sewers.
No.
Okay,
Yeah,
like
right.
how is
Or
this
a levy
thing?
system.
Exactly.
I mean, Amsterdam, who smokes weed 24/7, can have seven levies, but break before the city gets hit.
Yeah.
Why can't we figure it out?
We have so many things that could be going well, and we have such an uneducated and poor population that doesn't seem to really want to do anything about it sometimes.
Well, and I bring this up all the time. If you look at the voting, like polls, like 25% of New Orleans votes.
Apathy. That's
Like,
what I mentioned before.
Yeah, like
We're not getting out and putting our money where our mouth is.
how
and
do you
vice
expect
versa.
anything to change?
Yeah.
You know, and it's sad because for me after Katrina was the saddest part was all those franchises coming in because we never had we had a couple franchises, but like we were eating at mom and pops or local restaurants
Mhm.
85-90% of the time.
It's often, yeah, for sure.
You know,
Mhm.
and now it's probably 40% of the time.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on where you live. There's plenty of corporations and franchises, but there are still, I mean, at least in my industry, there's more music venues in town now than there was before Katrina. I think I'm fairly positive about that.
Okay.
And only a few of them are like corporate owned. Like you got your
Okay.
House of Blues and Fillmore's and whatever. Like your bigger places, bigger than Tipitina's and
Right.
whatever else. Those aren't just some dude that lives in town owns this massive thing. Not necessarily. If he does, he's probably partnered up with some other organization or whatever else. But there's a ton of neighborhood venues and other good sized, not just Tipitina's, but uptown you got Carrollton Station and the Maple Leaf and Gasa Gasa. Jimmy's is back.
Right.
Even Rosie's Jazz Hall, which doesn't really do a whole lot of shows, but it's got a great stage and it's got a great history in
Right.
town.
Shout out
Um,
Howlin' Wolf a little
Yeah,
bit. Love
the
my buddy.
Howlin' Wolf and Snug Harbor and Republic.
Yeah.
And, there's all these places. Toulouse Theater is locally on Preservation Hall and Blue Nile. Like, there are so many places that exist that are locally owned that are putting out good live music, like a great product for people to enjoy on the regular. And every different genre of music. I mean, Santos Bar in Decatur is like a cool fucking metal place,
Right,
man. Like
right.
Siberia and the Hi-Ho. I don't know,
Right.
actually, I guess the Hi-Ho is not the Hi-Ho anymore. But you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
Right.
there's a ton of stages and a ton of opportunities for musicians, but we are very reliant on tourism as we always have been. And I don't think that we have to be as much. I mean, we need it just because, like I said, we're a poor city. You
Yeah.
know, like how are we, how did our last mayor let us get $200 million in the hole?
Right.
Operating at a deficit ain't unheard of for a major city, but hundreds of millions of dollars. And a lot of it is because federal money was supposed to supplant that from FEMA money from 20 years ago.
Right.
And paperwork not getting done was the ultimate hangup.
Right.
So we're just stupid and shooting ourselves in the foot all the
It
time.
comes back down to the pirate city a little bit, you know.
A little, man, but I don't know,
We've always
like-
been the Big Easy. We've always been kind of and honestly, to bring it back, because and I'm gonna sum this up here soon, but the culture of the musicians is also part of the problems that we deal with here on this side.
Yeah.
So like, if I bring a band down from Nashville, okay, and they want some session musicians to come in and do some stuff that are from local New Orleans.
Mhm.
Their first question is this guy going to show up? Or is he going to show up sober? They have issues with how we do business in the creative side because we don't treat it like a business. We treat it like a nightclub. We treat it like more of a creative process that we might make money in sometimes. And you go to Nashville and, you'd be hard to find a studio that's open past 8 p.m. in Nashville. Like it's 9 to 5 jobs.
Huh.
Like that's how they treat it. And they're in, they're out, but everything is structured to where it's run like a business. And people outside the city have problems with that.
I mean, I'm sorry to disagree with you, but who are your fucking musicians? They can't show up for gigs, right? I mean, it's just...
I'm just saying.
No. I'm not trying to trash your experience, but like maybe I'm lucky because at Tipitina's we got a good brand. When people play at our club, we expect a standard of professionalism. Like we have raised the bar for ourselves with our team, with our production value, and we've grown over the years. It hasn't always been that way, but we're musician owned since the end of 2018.
Right.
So we have a certain credibility that we want to keep. And if there's bad players that are like, oh, we can't rely on them to show up on time for their gig or they're difficult, like we don't call them anymore.
Yeah.
Well,
I would say.
So we've got a lot of good musicians that we do know that are reliable.
Well, so I would say probably most of the musicians that are playing at Tipitina's level would probably be touring or moving in a certain aspect.
Not necessarily all the time,
okay,
man.
Well, all right. Well, I don't know. I'm just telling you the experience because I do bring people from out of town to come in to record, and I've had that response now like 3 or 4 times.
Oh man, who are these musicians?
Listen, I never tried to book them. It was all them, but at the same time, like that's how it seems like we are portrayed. Insider musicians.
That's again, we hit on it too a little bit, but that is one of the things that is kind of holding us back. People treating it casually, and I know that Loyola has a very strong music department, and Tulane is trying to build one.
UP over there.
With Loyola, here's something else I'm noticing though. Like they're getting fewer musicians and more music industry people.
Correct.
There was when I was in school, and up until the past 15 years, Loyola Music Program was like, no, the best musicians in town that get a music education are probably coming through here. And it was only in the past, however many years that they started leaning more into the music industry side, so that there's more people going there now that are like, no, I want to produce, I want to promote, I want to market. They want to do everything else around music that is not actually performing music. Right. So I'm wondering if that's hurting a little bit because I think there might be fewer bands coming out of these education programs than there used to be.
Right. Well, and there's less money to make in music as a whole. So like, you're adding all of these extra layers to what bands are supposed to be doing themselves now.
Well, again, and like you said, though, like we've cut through that a little bit.
Right.
Like there's not as many gatekeepers because we all have access to the same platforms.
Right.
So if you can hustle out there and just get the leg up here and there and start getting people to come out to your shows, put out a cool couple videos or do something weird to get attention, like it is a me culture, which kind of sucks. It just doesn't feel, some people love that. It just feels weird and creepy to me. But there's more opportunities than before, and there's more access to the information on how other people did it. So it's not nearly as mysterious as it used to be. You don't have to know a VP at a recording company or a label or an agency or whatever else. The agents in the massive companies, if I was them, I'd be shitting myself if they haven't been already.
Right.
Because their necessity is going away.
Oh, yeah. If I'm in an agency and I'm in $100 million building and I own it, I'd be shitting my pants right now because everything has shrunk down to, a solo person in a little desk somewhere and maybe even in their house. And they're doing everything from there that they were doing from the $100 million
didn't
office.
Billie Eilish's first stuff all recorded in her bedroom or something like that?
Alicia Keys did all of her first album in a closet in New York.
That's how it goes through. So there's more people that are finding a way to do that. And with the change in technology, I think it's just creating more different opportunities. And the big dogs gotta get out of the way. And there's an element of people just not retiring and get the hell out of the business when they should too.
Sounds like the Senate and the House.
No, dude, it's top to bottom. I am an elder millennial, but shame on you Gen Xers for not pushing all the baby boomers out when you had the opportunity.
Term limits
for
term
sure.
Limits.
But how dare you Gen Xers talk any shit when you couldn't get all those old folks out of the way when it was your time, and now it's too late. It's too late. They changed too many laws.
Now they're shitting on you through colostomy bags. But 100%. Well, what would be if you were to pick a band in 2026 that you could have at Tipitina's, what would be your number one?
I have a favorite band. The greatest band in the history of all time is a local band, as a matter of fact. They're called Johnny Sketch and the Dirty Notes.
Okay.
And they play Tipitina's at least twice a year.
Okay.
So I would recommend anyone, if you haven't seen Johnny Sketch and the Dirty Notes, they are the greatest in town, pound for pound. There's no one better.
Awesome.
They are the greatest band in the history of all fucking time.
I
stand by that.
Well, now I can't wait to go see them.
I'm serious. You should not pass any opportunity to see them. And they're all wonderful people, wonderful musicians, and they just put on a good, enjoyable show. And they're not a rock band or a jam band or jazz band or a funk band or a klezmer band or hip hop element. Like, they do all of it, but they just put on an enjoyable musical experience.
Hey, I like when you can't pigeonhole them.
Yeah, people would just call them a jam band just
Right.
because they kind of do a lot and they jam a bit and they have very artistic-ish music, but they got awesome funk songs. They got awesome rock songs. They got awesome jazz. They're all classically trained also. Like, Mark, the lead singer, pulls out an electric cello for a couple of songs, like, it's good.
Yeah,
it's just good.
That's awesome.
So yeah, they do great R&B stuff. Top to bottom, they are the greatest band in the history of all fucking time. And I'll say it till I'm dead.
Well, we will make a point to come see it then. Absolutely. Well, look, I appreciate you coming through today. I appreciate the conversation, man. We got to do more stuff together.
Yeah, dude, hit me up anytime. Come see a show whenever.
Awesome. That sounds good. Maybe we can come do some interviews too at Tips.
Yeah, if you want. I was telling Arya before, I did some as well. If you're really bored, anyone who's listening to this or watching this, if you go to the Tipitina's TV YouTube channel, during COVID, we actually did a little interview series on the stage.
Okay.
A little drinking, a little smoking, a little hanging out, and there's plenty of musicians that you might recognize that came through there and other personalities around town. It was a lot of fun, and it was just something to kind of keep our sanity while we could.
Awesome. Awesome. Any shows or anything that you want to throw out, socials or anything?
Assuming that this is coming out sometime in the next month or so, Jazz Fest is probably right around the corner.
Yep.
Some of those shows, if not most of them, are probably sold out by now. Tipitinas.com. Got all the links for the social media pages and everything there. Tipitinas.com is the basics for it.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Well, like I said, I appreciate you coming through.
Yeah, thanks for having me, for real.
I'm glad we had a good conversation, man. It's going to be fun to go to Tips over the Jazz Fest. It's going to be fun.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you guys for joining us today. And if you'd like to see more, please like and subscribe. And I'll see you next time.